What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Don coming live naturally to the True Players Podcast episode tonight. It's a big Monday night. Usually, I do these recaps around Wednesdays, but tonight is a special night because we have a baseball season for the New York Mets. These last 7 days are going to be very important for the New York Mets. But before I get into that, which I will get into a little bit later in the podcast, I'm going to recap the big wins this week, week 3 of the NFL season. We saw both New York teams getting their W's in, the Giants, the New York Jets. The Jets won on Thursday night versus the Patriots, which I saw. I was watching the game a little bit. I was kind of dozing off a little bit during the game, I must admit, because I thought it was a boring game because the Pats had no chance. I'm sorry. The Pats have no chance. They had no chance in that game. The New York Jet offense looked smoother. The defense played a whole lot better, especially against the run. That's one of the issues that the Jet defense has. But how about the emergence of Will McDonald IV? Over the past 2 weeks, filling in for Jermaine Johnson, who got injured against the Titans. I'm sorry. Got injured against the Titans, out for the year with an Achilles injury, which is a big loss for the New York Jets. It makes it more important for Hassan Reddick to get back on the field, but I don't think that guy's going to play for the Jets at all. But Will McDonald really stepped up over the past 2 weeks, getting 5 sacks in 2 weeks. You know, everybody was saying that he's a bust, saying all these things about him, and look what happened. He gets an opportunity to shine, and look what he did, getting 5 sacks. At this rate, he could end up with double-digit sacks for the season. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. This is a great start for him. So let's not get ahead of ourselves for now. But the Jets do defeat the Patriots for the first time in New Jersey since the Ryan Patrick overtime victory. Was it overtime victory? I'm trying to remember back in 2015. I'm trying to remember. Maybe you guys could fill me in on this. Was it overtime? I'm trying to remember. It's been about 9 years since the Jets have beaten the Patriots in MetLife Stadium or New Jersey. Nevertheless, the New York Jets took advantage of the least talented Patriots with Jacoby Brissett in. Then they brought in Drake May later to finish up. But let's get into it. You know, like I said, the offense looked very sharp. Aaronrodgers completed the 8 different receivers. It looks like he's in MVP form. Even had a couple of scrambles for some decent yards. You know what I'm saying? Listen. When the man throws for 27 or 35, 281 yards and 2 TDs, 3 catches for 18 yards, that's definitely a very good victory. Good game. I was kind of hoping he got 300 yards. That's what I was hoping for. Let him get that 300-yard game. That's what I was hoping for. But it didn't happen, but he still had a great game. Braylon Allen is definitely the change of pace back for Breece Hall, the power runner. He got 11 carries, 55 yards. Breece Hall, carried 16 carries, 54 yards in a TD. Also contributed with 4 receptions for 29 yards. And in the oddity of this game here, Garrett Wilson was not the leading receiver in this game. It was Tyler Conklin. The tight ends really stepped up and did their thing throughout the game. Tyler led the receiving charge with 5 catches for 93 yards. When was the last time the Jets had any tight end that got close to 100 yards receiving? When was the last time that happened? Can we go as far as possibly Dustin Keller? Did he have a 100-yard receiving game? Or was it way back with Johnny Mitchell? Somebody got to look that up for me. Of course, Lazard is continuing his resurrection from last year's bad season. Wilson contributed 5 catches for 33 yards. Mike Williams, again, he's slowly getting back into shape. He didn't play at all this preseason. Didn't even have to do OTAs. See, this is pretty much his off-season workout right now. And he contributed 3 catches for 34 yards. I really can't wait we say that the offensive is improving. I can't wait to see this offense at full throttle, where everything is going according to plan. Breece Hall is getting those 5 to 6 yards per carry type of performance. I would love to see that. Definitely would love to see that. But we got to wait and see. Like I said, the Jets did play better against them the run, but to be honest with you, that could be a little bit fool's gold because they didn't really play against the top flight running back or top flight offensive line. The Patriots was down, I believe, 4 starters in that offensive line. So we took advantage of the opportunity. We took advantage of it, and we won the football game. When you give Aaron Rodgers 40 minutes of possession, 99.9% you're going to win that football game. So that's the key to success. Those are the teams will try to play to keep him off the field to prevent that from happening. But like I said, the Jets go on to be 2-1. They play the Broncos next week. They probably going to take on Bo Nix, who got a big win against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Broncos are flying high after getting their first win of the season. They're coming into MetLife Stadium. I expect the Jets to get another easy game out of this and end up finishing 3-1 before they go to London. I believe it's the week after to take on Sam Darnold and the Vikings. So that's 2 weeks from now on the 6th, which I am not working that morning. I will be up at 9:30 a.m. to watch that football game on the NFL Network. The Vikings do present a different challenge to the New York Jets. They got Justin Jefferson. They got some receivers. So it's going to be a big test for our secondary, and I believe our secondary is up for the challenge. After that poor showing in San Francisco, I think the secondary is back to their old selves, and they're going to be able to lock down those receivers over there in Minnesota. But nevertheless, let's take care of business at home against the Broncos. It should be an easy W. Should be. But remember, this is the New York Jets. Nothing ever comes easy. As all of our Jets fans know all too well, nothing ever comes easy for the New York Jets. Okay? So, wishful thinking, but hopefully with the presence of Aaron Rodgers, that changes everything. Okay? So, let's get on to the New York Giants side of the situation, which I watched this game in full yesterday. Eric Gray receives a kickoff in Cleveland Stadium in the dog pound. He runs it back and fumbles the ball. Now, what I felt was going to happen was the game was over from that point. The momentum had swung completely to the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, first play from scrimmage, after recovering the fumble, gets a touchdown to Amari Cooper. Okay. I was like, oh, shit. This could be a blowout today. This is a freaking gut punch that the Giants took. You know what the Giants did? Their defense stepped up to the tune of 8 sacks, 5 in the first half against Deshaun Watson. Stifling defense. The Browns offense did not have an answer for the type of coverages or the blitzes that was coming from the New York Giants. And throughout the game, you saw the Cleveland Browns offensive line start to dwindle. A lot of injuries coming up in that injuries. And the New York Giants took full advantage of it. Daniel Jones had a great game. Singletary had a great game, but the star of the game was that rookie. If you ended the season right now, Maliknabers is the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, right now. And he got Wan'Dale Robinson on the other side. You had Darius Slayton, who got injured. But what does this Giant offense look like if Darren Waller did not retire? And you have Maliknabers, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton on the field. How different this offense would be looking with Darren Waller. That's a dream that we probably would never know, to be honest with you. We would never know about that dream. Because he retired. He's not coming out of retirement. He's done. But I must say the defensive coordinator of the New York Giants, which his name just escapes me right now, I must say, had a fantastic game plan. Dexter Lawrence is continuing to be the anchor in that front seven, dictating, getting pressure, blowing up the offensive linemen, and allowing his other teammates to make plays. Kevon Thibodeau making plays, even though he didn't get the sack numbers, he's still getting pressure and hits on the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So they played well. These Giants played well for 2 weeks. There should have been no reason. There was no reason why they should have lost to the Commanders last week. They're probably the first team in history to lose a game without giving up a touchdown. First team without giving up a single touchdown. But these guys showed them the toughness. It all starts with the head coach. They showed their toughness. It came back and beat a very good Cleveland Brown team, a team that was in the playoffs last season, a team that no one thought that they could beat, and they did it. They did it. Shout out to them. Now they got a short week. They got to play. They got to take on the Cowboys on Thursday night. Can the defense continue to play this well against a very talented defensive Dallas Cowboy team? As I'm watching Buffalo blowing out the Jaguars, now it's now 27-3. Can the Giants maintain the same level of intensity on defense? Can Daniel Jones and his offense continue to improve from this game? His only way is up, and the East and the NFC East is a very tight race right now. Everyone in that division has a win. Everyone has a win. But like I said, the Giants, big game this Thursday, recover, continue to get better on offense, continue to get better with coaching, continue to get better overall all around, and continue to let this rookie maliknabers cook. This guy can do everything. They even wanted him to do a wide receiver pass, which I thought wasn't necessary because Daniel Jones is playing well. Wasn't necessary for that. But, Brian Daboll has to pull out some tricks out of his book to make it happen. So let's see what happens for next week with the New York Giants. Thursday night, just playing Sunday night against the Broncos at home. We're going to see what's going to happen. But now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give before I enter the New York Mets saga, the great theater that we have at Citi Field over the past week at Citi Field. I want to give out a big shout out, honorable mentions to our former New York Jet and New York Giant players. Sam Darnold leads Minnesota Vikings to 3-0, defeating the Texans, 181 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, to all my ZW fans, how many times has Zach Wilson thrown for 4 touchdowns? Just saying. You guys wanted this guy over Sam Darnold so bad. So bad. You see what the Sam Darnold could do with great coaching and some weapons? You see what he's capable of. Enough said. Saquonbarkley single-handedly led the Eagles to victory against the Saints in the defensive battle. The Saints, man, they're surprising me. They're a pretty damn good team with Derek Carr and that defense. And Alvin Kamara, he's back to his old ways again, dominating on receiving the football out of the backfield and running it. He's back to his old ways, which I'm excited because I should have played fantasy football this year. He would have been my pick. So yeah, I think Saquon had 140 yards of rushing against the Saints. Impressive. Very impressive on that one. But now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get now the key to this podcast is I'm going to spend some time on this. The New York Mets, 2 games up over the Atlanta Braves. Second wild card spot. Okay. They just took 3 out of 4 away from the Phillies. a Philly team that has already won 93 games, a Philly team that was looking to clinch the National League East division title at Citi Field. The magic number is 1. The Mets came in there. You know what I'm saying? They blew one game. They were up 4-0. They blew one game against the Phillies. Very well pitched game between both teams yesterday. Zackwheeler, as he continues, Zackwheeler is always going to be the one that's going to make me eat a whole lot of crow. And I'm not going to repeat what I said. I'm sure you guys seen on a lot of episodes I said it. But Zackwheeler is a legit ace. Who would have thought he would outlast Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, and in essence outlast Jacob deGrom as far as health-wise goes? Would have thought that. But he pitched a hell of a game, and Brandonnimmo, he challenged the fans. I was at that game when he challenged the fans to come to show up more, bring up the attendance and stuff like that. I was at that game. I left early in the 8th inning when they beat the Nationals 10-something. It was like 10-0 or some shit like that. I left early because I was trying to beat that traffic, got out back to the island. But I was there at that game. And the energy in that crowd when I was there was something special. And yesterday, just watching it from the television screen, I felt the energy in Citi Field. What my thing is to you guys, is it Pete Alonso's last game as a New York Met at Citi Field? Is it? Let's talk about the emergence of luisangelacuna, brother of Ronald Acuna, in place of, in my opinion, the true MVP of the National League, Francisco Lindor. This allowed how well this young kid is playing at the shortstop position. Gives the Mets an opportunity to rest Lindor a little bit more. Lindor has played every game since he came to the New York Mets, up until this year, every single game. Francisco Lindor started this season, by the middle of June, he was batting .212. He turned the season around. Does the team start to win more? The Mets have the best record since the All-Star break. If you believe it or not. I think best record since June, actually, not from the All-Star break, from June. Quality pitching all the way through from Peterson, Severino, Manaea really changed his season around. Quintana now is stepping up, now coming to form at the right time. Not in the beginning of the season and fading out at the end, but at the right time of the season when crunch time. This is crunch time. This is the pennant right now. This is a pennant race right now. Like I said before, 2 games ahead of the ahead of the Atlanta Braves. They got a big 3-game series starting tomorrow, and they finish off against the Brewers. This is a very tough schedule because the Brewers, I believe, is, if not the best record in the National League, the second best record in the National League. Or the third, I believe. They're top 3. This is a tough 6-game stretch. And if the Mets want to be the team that people want them to be, you got to close out. You got to close out this 3-game series. And what I mean by closing out is you got to sweep the Braves. Put them in the rearview mirror. By the time you get to Milwaukee, they should be 5 games out of the wild card spot, and you already clinched your wild card spot for the National League playoffs. You won a tiebreak against the Diamondbacks, so you're going to be the number 2 wild card once you do that. But can the Mets do it? They're going to a stadium, which is a house of horrors for them, in a town that's a house of horrors for them, which is Atlanta. I don't know what it is with them in Atlanta. Maybe you need to stay away from downtown Atlanta. Maybe you need to stay away from the strip clubs, Magic City, and Blue Flame Lounge, and just focus on stay in your hotel room and focus. And get these last 3 games. That's the way you have to do it. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Edwindiaz go 2 innings. His last 2 saves he went 2 innings each save, back to back games. This Met team can do it, and they're doing this without the big hits from Alonso, without the big hits from JD Martinez. As you know, I don't know if you guys watch the games the way I watch the games. I'm noticing now Starling Marte is getting more at bats at DH. They're putting Taylor out the outfield. Right? And let me get back to luisangelacuna. His emergence this season. What do you do with him for next season? The guy looks comfortable at the plate against big league pitching. He looks comfortable. They're doing this without Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is also injured. He has not played. Another bat that turned it around after the All-Star break. This team, as has grown throughout the season, has become a very deep team. So what happens next season? Is Petealonso going to be the first baseman? Is Acuna going to end up taking up the second base spot for Jeff McNeil? Either force the Mets to either trade McNeil or put him in the outfield. And don't forget, we got the big rookie we had last year who got injured with ACL, Ronnie Mauricio, coming back next year. Do you move Vientos to first base and put Mauricio at third base? Or put him in the outfield? This is something the Mets we have to think about for next season, but we're too early for that. We're not in next season yet. We're still in this season. And our destiny is in front of us, Mets fans. Our destiny is in front of us. Have to close out the Braves. Bare minimum 2 out of 3. And if you win 1 game out of 3, and you're gonna face the Brewers at the last 3 games, well, we're gonna have our Rolaids ready. We're gonna have our Tums ready, the Malanta, all that. The end ass is gonna be on fleek. On fleek on Friday. The Mets have to win minimum 2 out of 3. But be greedy and sweep the Braves. Sweep them out of the playoffs. This Braves team has done to us too many times in the past. It's time for them to give them their receipt. Return the favor. Knock those boys out of the playoff race. Do it. I believe in my New York Mets. I'm starting to believe in Carlos Mendoza as a manager. I believe in his team. They just have to close the deal. And this is the series where they have to close the deal. No choice. You hear me, Pete Alonso? I need you to give me one good performance in these series. Nemo, keep hitting the ball. Keep hitting the ball. Get on base. Doing what you do best. I'm excited. I'm expecting to see a Met playoff visit this year. After last year, the poor season we had last year, and the poor finish to the 22 season. Us Mets fans deserve this. We deserve this big time. And I can't wait for the series to start tomorrow, which I will be watching in earnest. So on that note, as my voice is getting raspy and burning, I'm going to end this podcast. But definitely, guys, you can find me on youtube.com/@TruePlayersPodcast. There's a space between the / and the @ So it's TRUPLAYAZ podcast, PODCAST. You can catch me on Patreon. I will be uploading these episodes to Patreon by at least in the next 2 days. Everything will be up and in sequence. Definitely listen to me on Spotify, True Players Podcast. All the audios from the new season 7 of the True Players Podcast, including the first 4 of the anniversary series. First 4 parts of the anniversary series will be on there too. I'm still waiting for Miss Fairychild to join me to do the part 5. So the anniversary series is still not complete. It will be complete once she joins the podcast. But on that note, from me, the True Players Podcast, Joey G, who's not with me tonight. We got a couple of big episodes coming up. I want to talk about, as I mentioned it before in a previous episode, about the lack of use of the black wrestlers in WWE. I definitely want to talk about the racist comments from the Republican candidates against my heritage, my parents' country of Haiti. We're definitely going to talk about it in the next episode. Now, not the next episode. There will be an episode about it. With the interest of protecting certain things, I will not speak on it until those other things are finalized, and then the episode will be put out. All right? So on that note, I want to wish you guys a very good night. It's been Big Dom signing off on this podcast. I'll hit you all soon. Next podcast. Peace.